And we are on. Thank you so much for joining in again on Staked, the YouTube channel about everything that has to do with staking and the vibrant staking industry. And I'm sitting here with Farmer to talk about Union. The Union blockchain went live a couple of days ago, and with it, the U token also went live. It had its TGE, which was a little bit disappointing, to be honest. At least the community felt a little bit like that. But in our view, there is a possibility for the U token to be one of the best deals that you can take in the crypto industry today. So we are going to talk about that. But before we dive deeper here, Farmer, thank you so much for coming on. For all of the people who may not know you, can you just provide a quick introduction about you and the DeFi Dojo?
Yeah, sure, man. Great to be here. Great to see you, homie. I lead the DeFi Dojo Validator. And so just like you were saying, all into staking, importance of staking, validate a ton of different like Cosmos and chains, as well as Ethereum, Eigenlayer operator. So the DeFi Dojo in general is a group of insane yield monkeys who are like searching for the highest possible yield on the best possible assets. So BTC, ETH, stable coins. And so, yeah, go follow Steven, the calculator guy. I'm sure everyone knows who he is. And he puts out amazing threads on X for different yield opportunities on Solana, Babylon, all over the place, different yields.
Amazing, amazing. And as always, you can find the links in the show note. But now let us have a quick look at Union. I hope you can see my screen. But yeah, Union just went live, and it was like one of the more anticipated launches in the crypto industry, specifically if you have like some background in the Cosmos ecosystem. So the high-level overview of what Union does, I will provide you a quick blurb here, is Union is a blockchain and is basically extending the capabilities of IBC. And IBC is a cross-chain bridging technology that was developed in the Cosmos ecosystem. It turned out to be the most securest one, the best one, and the fastest one in the crypto industry. We have experienced multiple hacks and exploits in the industry. Billions of dollars just got extracted in bridging hacks. But IBC never got hacked, and IBC prevailed because it uses each blockchain state to bridge certain assets back and forth. So this is how you can have native assets moving between the destination chain and the origin chain without relying on third parties, without relying on wrapped derivatives, or without requiring smart contracts, or without requiring even a multisig or something else. So this is how IBC grew, and IBC bridged billions and billions in digital assets in around the crypto industry. But there were like some limitations, and this is where Union comes in. The limitations primarily where one is that at some point, all of these Cosmos chains were a little bit overloaded just with IBC transactions. The chains were like busy just storing these transaction proofs for transactions that were coming in and out. Great example for that was Osmosis. A blockchain can be like super busy just dealing with 60% of its capacity just for IBC transactions. So this was like a limitation. And another limitation was to expand IBC beyond the Cosmos. A lot of governance proposals would have needed to pass, etc. And Union said, okay, we are building our own blockchain. We are extending IBC's capabilities and act as a coordination layer, like the default layer for all cross-chain interactions, by building a blockchain that facilitates bringing IBC capabilities to other ecosystems. They are also using a ZK technology for that, and on a super high level, what happens is the Union blockchain is the coordination layer for every cross-chain transaction that comes in, and it acts purely as a coordination and validation layer to verify if a transaction has been executed. So it has a native prover called Galoris, and it generates and aggregates ZK proofs across the multiple execution environments, including EVMs, the Cosmos SDKs, but also rollups, Move VMs, and also Bitcoin. So this is how Union basically wants to become the cross-chain default layer. So this is like my super quick and high-level rundown. And now, Danny, you can add your few cents after I provided the technical breakdown. You know the team for some time. You also know the project for some time. So now that we have this behind us, yeah, please shill us the rest.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe we could talk about the history first. So the first time I hung out with Union and heard about that, we were in Istanbul at Cosmoverse. I guess that was 2023. It's like almost exactly 2 years ago. And so at that point, we at Cosmoverse there were 4 teams there that were saying they are going to create an EVM for like the IBC stack. And then since then, we had the Cosmos core team last year say that they have a EVM solution for the Cosmos Hub, and that was called Eureka, right? And then even as recently as 6 months ago, you had, I think, the Cosmos Hubs like Eureka going against the Union version of like Ethereum on IBC. And there was sort of like a war there where they were like, we all want Babylon to use our version of EVM, maybe like if Ondo's coming in to create an IBC chain, we want them to use our version of EVM for like cross-chain stuff. So there was that kind of battle for them. Now, like all of those projects have failed or been like spun down, and Union ended up being, I remember asking people like Jack Zampa and people who are like super technically knowledgeable back at that Cosmoverse in 2023. Every person I talked to said, we don't know who will be the winner here, but we know like Union has the best team and Union has like far superior tech to the rest of them. And so, yeah, that was like my first introduction to them. And then, you see each other at conferences and stuff all over the world. And I followed the project closely. And recently, they just like they blew up online. Like ahead of this TGE event, like they had the craziest like KDO like Yap campaign. People trying to get to say ZKGM like thousands of times, and there was like a count on that. But yeah, I think this is one of those. I think this is one of the most like technically superior, but like underrated overall sort of projects that's like come out in a long time. Like I see a massive opportunity here. We were looking before the show and talking about like the market cap and FDV. And if that like initial that we just saw, the initial, if the market cap is really like 15 million right now or 20 million and the FDV is under 100 million, that puts Union like almost out of the top 1,000 crypto projects, right? I think this is a top 75, top 50 project in all of crypto. And so I just see like I only see upside there, not financial advice, blah, blah, blah. But like, I think this is an amazing opportunity. I'm excited to follow along.
Yeah, maybe also to add to that, let's talk a little bit about what the thesis is for Union, and also let's talk precisely about that. So one thing, obviously, great product, great team, and then token performance are always two different pair of shoes, right? Very important to mention here. But yeah, so as you can see, the current market cap is 18.41 million, and the fully diluted valuation is $95 million, which has been a little bit disappointing because Union alone raised $12 million in its Series A round. So people were expecting a little bit more, to be fair. And also the claiming process wasn't that smooth, but I'm really not angry about that, because, blockchain launches are always like something super, super tricky, and there are always some hiccups along the way. In my whole journey in the crypto industry, I think I've seen 1 or 2 blockchain launches where everything went like super, super smoothly. Somnia, one of the more recent ones, was super smoothly, but then I really never seen a blockchain launch where everything worked just perfectly well. I think that's just part of the game. Just wanted to add that here. But if we now look at the market cap, 80 million, fully diluted valuation 95, is a little bit disappointing considering what Union has raised here. So I think this is like what we are talking about, right? It's like that this is like something tremendous, because finding a coin right now that market cap is below 100 million with a product that really makes sense is very rare, if not super exotic, if not calling it a unicorn.
Yeah, I think it is a unicorn, union corn. It is like to me, it's not disappointing at all. To me, it's a massive opportunity. So like, I'm stoked. I'm a buyer at these levels, and super happy to chill and wait on this investment to mature over time. Just because it's one of those things, it's like if something like this had come out, maybe in the end of 2022 or early 2023 or something like, or I mean, the end of 2023, and like when times were like a little more hot in the crypto markets. But now it's the attention to be able to get the attention of the entire industry and get people talking about your coin is like almost impossible now. I mean, like Union's TG happens, like a few weeks after Pump's TGE, a few weeks after World Liberty Finance comes out. There's insanity happening on Hyperliquid. Now everyone's like getting excited and yapping about like Mega ETH and Monad, and so there's just not that much mind share left. And so this is one of those projects, I think, that is just like super, super high quality, and going to be like perform unbelievably well over the long term, that just can't get any like eyes and attention or people to like fully understand what they're trying to accomplish and how valuable it is.
Yeah, and let's maybe talk a little bit about that. So what's the thesis for Union, just to reflect on that? So I mentioned it again. I mentioned it before. Union aims to become the default layer for all cross-chain transactions. That's the pitch of Union.
Yeah.
So now the question is, okay, all fun and games, but where's the value accrual for the Union token, the U token? The value accrual lies in fee generation, as so often, and staking, because in order to execute a cross-chain transaction, say from Ethereum to Bitcoin, for instance, or from Ethereum to any Cosmos chain, what needs to happen is that validators on the Union blockchain get paid a certain fee in U tokens in order to execute that transaction. So the thesis is pretty similar. Is pretty obvious. Is if the amount of the volume of cross-chain transactions on Union go up, or like all transactions that get facilitated with Union go up, then also the price of Union goes up, because the demand for U tokens will eventually grow, because also validator need to stake a certain amount of U tokens. So this is like the thesis on a high level, and I think this also comes with a great example. So, Farmer, you were in the trenches and looked a little bit into the product. So, how mature is Union so far? How many assets or how much worth in USD has been bridged using the Union technology so far?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It seems like Union, they called it a test net, but it was working great, right, for months, and they just kept like adding features every single week. I think the most impactful was what they did with on Tower using Babylon. So they were able to take Babylon and turn it into Union Babylon, right? To make Babylon BTC useful on Ethereum, right? And so Babylon has $5 billion of BTC TVL, right? And up until now, still the best way to use it is a Union Babylon BTC so that you can take it over to different places and in the EVM land and actually earn high yield on it. So I think right now that's like their best example of like what they're doing and how they can like move billions of TVL around through their system. But it's one of these teams that is just like relentlessly never ever stopping building. So they just like they're just going to ship a new chain, a new test net of a chain, on and on and on until they're connected with everything and everyone and every chain. So for me, as all these fees accrue, like this becomes, well, I guess like the bull case is just like technically this could become the best bridge, right? Because we're talking about like finality times, which are just those are all based on like the chain that it's being sent from. So it'll be the fastest possible like execution times. It also should be, they're saying it's the most secure. And the coolest thing out of all of it, and what everyone is eventually going to want, and everyone's going to eventually need, and what everyone's been talking about, and including Vitalik for the last 5 years, is that like we need zero knowledge proofs. And so Union thinks that they have cracked this zero knowledge proof thing, which is probably the most important upgrade that our industry as a whole could use. And so like you could see Union at the exact middle of all these different like, of Hyperliquid, of Babylon, of Ethereum, of Solana, routing all these cross-chain routes, but when they happen, they all happen like in a zero knowledge way. So it's more secure, and it's privacy by default.
Yeah, totally agree on that. Especially what you have mentioned, we are screaming, or like we are begging almost for more ZK proofs for I think 3 years now in the industry from the rooftop. So it's amazing to see that happening with Union. Now, I mean, the thesis is pretty obvious that we try to present here. So one, you have Union, which could be one of the most interesting picks in the industry right now. You're looking at a product that has facilitated a lot of asset transfers so far in a sub 20 million market cap region, sub 100 million FTV, which is like a pretty appealing one. And you have like a strong team, so it could be like one of the better picks in the industry so far, also because you do not really need so much distribution for that. So you're not targeting retail investors or something like that. You're also not targeting retail users for that. That all works under the hood. So if it's really the best cross-chain technology and it prevails and it comes out to be the best bridge, and everyone or like all the chains are using this bridge, then eventually the U token will go up. But your former high school friends, probably will never ever hear about Union. It's way in the background for the blockchain industry. Now, what's the risk in this investment? I think we talked a little bit about the good things so far. What are like the current risks? Well, the risk could be that another competitor could overtake Union. That's one risk. Or cross-chain transactions won't be that relevant in the future. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I guess if we're talking about investment risk, then I don't see much downside here. I just like this to me. This is exactly where I like to invest in projects. Underrated at TGE right after a huge like community airdrop campaign. You end up like getting all of that washed out, like you get all the like non-believers washed out, and then you get like a bottom, it just sort of like bottoms, and then we just like skyrocket up in one moment. And I think you're right. I think this is more of like a B2B play. Like these guys are going to go in the background and make like, $1 billion TVL deals based on their like incredible tech. And like, yeah, your mom and your grandma aren't going to call you like they do about XRP and ask you about it. But as like someone who's like value investing and cares about mid to short term ROI, this is where my head's at right now.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for me, it's also one of the better and more one of the better bets in the industry right now. But still, it's very hard to predict also where the infrastructure side of things heads in the crypto industry. So yeah, definitely like a bear market friendly. I would say a bear market friendly coin, but of course, no financial advice. But yeah, there might be like also a world where cross-chain transactions won't be that relevant. So I believe when we all thought that there will be thousands of blockchains in the future, and now it turned out, well, there is not that much of a need as of now. So obviously there are some banks that are experimenting with their own blockchains, but the world that we imagined, like coming from the Cosmos ecosystem with hundreds and thousands of chains left and right, like as of now, it didn't turn out to become the reality that we have foreseen. So you also have to be fair and say that sometimes the general thesis doesn't play out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess there aren't 2,000 rollups being built on Celestia this week, right? So, of course, there are all these like marketing and crazy things, but like this isn't a team doing that. This isn't a team saying like, like offering up a bunch of like pump stuff and hyperbole and like a bunch of BS. This is just like super nerd goblins head down trying to like fully connect the crypto and internet. So I don't think even if we end up with 10 blockchains that are responsible for like 99.9% of the transactions, you still need bridges between L2s, you need bridges between L1s, and you need like seamless interoperability between all this stuff. And so I don't see, even if you end up like with 5 blockchains that have all the block space being used, I don't think we end up in a world where abstraction tech and bridging tech is ever not useful or needed.
Yeah. Also feel the same. Like the completely vanishing of cross-chain transactions is fairly unrealistic. But yeah, if we talk about relevance, maybe that's a different thing. But yeah, I mean, it's always important to also list the potential downsides, right, of an investment, and keep a clear head of everything. Do you still have something that you are really desperate to share about Union? Something that we have forgot about, maybe?
No, not really. I just can't. It's one of those things like Warren Buffett is like, I don't invest in stocks. I invest in people. I invest in teams. And I invest in companies. And so this is one of those situations for me where like I've just been lucky enough to get to know this team and get to watch how they operate. And it's like the team has impressed me more than any other team I've ever seen operate. And so Carol and Core, like with them at the helm, they're just like young and hungry and bullish and brilliant. And I don't know, it's just something I'm super excited about. Super excited to follow along for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, we had Carol on the show, I think, twice already. So yeah, really understand what you are talking about, and obviously, yeah, we have been very excited about the launch and are still super optimistic about Union progressing. And we also have our validator up. It should enter the active set fairly soon, so it might be the case that the moment this episode is live, that we will also have our validator live. So if you still have some spare Union to stake with from the airdrop or something, yeah, we are more than happy to be your responsible validator of it. DeFi Dojo X Friends, which is maintained under Swike. So yeah, guys, if you want to support a validator who really, yeah, fosters the Union thesis, then yeah, you are at the right address here. With that being said, Farmer, thank you so much for coming on once again. I think was a tremendous episode as always with you, and yeah, I believe I will see you on the show fairly soon.
Later, homie. Thank you.